We're gonna go ahead and get started. First thing is a special meeting of the St. Joseph County Council, November 23rd, 2021. The purpose of this meeting is for the council to consider this resolution approving the retainer of Ice Miller as legal counsel assisting with litigation related to the redistricting process. There has been a request for public input this evening. By state statute, that is not required, but since that request was made, I will ask for a vote of each council person to vote to see if they are in favor of having public input or not having public input. There again, state statute says we are not required to do so. So with that said, Mr. Hammond? A yes obviously means you're yes in favor of having public input, a no, it means that you're not.
President Morton, if I might.
Mr. Toloyan?
Thank you. I would like to object to this meeting, and I believe that it was improperly authorized. If you look at the rules and regulations for the St. Joseph County Council, Section 6, regarding special meetings, it says that a special meeting may be called by the county auditor or by a majority of the county council, or it may be called by the president of the council upon written request of a majority of the members of the council. So according to the emails that I have, it was called by you, but I see no documentation that it was done by a written request by a majority of the councils, and I would like to register my objection to this meeting.
Mr. Triple, any response to that?
Did you send an email to notify the council members of the meeting?
Yes.
I think that's sufficient in writing.
It doesn't say in writing by the president, it says in writing by a majority of the members of the council. Page 5, section 6.
Yeah, I was looking at both of them. The state law allows the president to call a meeting. My opinion is it's been properly advertised. I think you can have a meeting, but that's my opinion.
Okay. With that said, thank you, Mr. Toloyan. Thank you, Mr. Triple. Mr. Hammond?
This is a vote as to whether y'all want public input. Yes means you do want input, no means you do not. Mr. Krasinski.
No.
Mr. Nolan.
Yes.
Mr. File.
Yes.
Ms. Hess.
No.
Mr. Toloyan.
Yes.
Mr. Catanzarite.
No.
Mr. Kandarecki.
Yes.
Mr. Root.
Yes.
Mr. Morton.
Yes.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeses for public input prevail 6-3, looks like.
Thank you. So with that said, we will start the public input. If you wish to speak, come up and state your name and address. For the record, you have three minutes to address the council. And I would like to add, whoever's going to speak this evening, because we were not planning on having public input. Like I stated earlier, it is not required by state statute, but I thought the thing to do would be to poll the council, and that's what we did. So we do have a 5:30 meeting scheduled, so I would ask everyone who wishes to speak, be succinct and do not be redundant.
I'm Amy Drake from Granger. I think it's awful that Democrats are here tonight playing political games with the maps. It started before we even got here. I called and asked President Morton if we could have public comment on this lawsuit that they wanted to start, and he said no. I then had to call the lawyer and ask if the president had discretion to allow public comment, and he said indeed he did. This is no surprise. The council has voluntarily eliminated public comment before, most recently on a controversial resolution to honor the health department. The only reason they're allowing it tonight is because I exposed this to the Tribune before the meeting. We just went through the redistricting process with the commissioners. The Democrats shouted that the process was not clear and transparent and that the public was being shut out of the process. However, I want to point out that President Andy Castelny was very liberal with public comment and did not try at all to stifle it. I have often argued with Andy in other meetings, and even though we've been on opposite sides, he's always let me talk freely. Even the League of Women Voters meeting allowed free discussion on both sides. For Democrats to say they want public input and then try and disallow public comment is totally disingenuous. It makes me doubt everything they said through the redistricting process. I don't think they really cared how the process was run. They just didn't like that they didn't control it. Also, I want to point out that this lawsuit is ludicrous. It's a waste of taxpayer money, and it's preventing us from going forward with our election processes. If they don't get these maps finished up and continue to stall the process, how are we going to know which candidates are going to run for our 2022 elections? They are messing with our future elections by playing silly political games. The Democrats don't have a lawsuit. They know, like everybody, that these maps are fair and not gerrymandered. Even a professor at Notre Dame said so. He said, I don't see anything really egregious here. If the Republicans are trying to create two safe districts, they're not very good at it because they're only marginally safe, and given turnout issues, I think that may all be a wash. The article in the South Bend Tribune also sounded like that they don't have a case. It said, but the council's potential legal strategy and lawsuits' prospects for success are unclear. But claims of illegal voter dilution must clear a high bar in federal court, and the potential challenge to the state's local redistricting law would be unknown territory, at least for St. Joseph County. What the Democrats are doing and suing and just hoping they get lucky and win is wrong. This is an embarrassment to the taxpayers and the voters for this county. It is wrong to hold up the democratic process just because they are sore losers and don't control all the line drawing. We need to move forward with these maps. The commissioners had a chance to draw their maps, and now the council will have its turn. They claim they wanted to work with both sides in the process, but it is clear tonight they are just trying to eliminate all this kind of bipartisan things that they had been talking about before. They obviously have no plans to work with Republicans. Thank you.
You know what, ma'am? I'm going to make a comment. I normally don't do this, but you know what, Ms. Drake? You called me today, and my comment was, yes, state law does not require us. The key word is does not require us to have public input. Okay, hold on. Let me finish. You had your chance. Let me finish. And I said to you, after you said, well, I'm going to talk to the attorney, and I said, Ms. Drake, you have every right to do that, and I saw your email. And that is exactly why I said we will take a vote of all 9, Republican and Democrat, to make this decision to have public input. But yet and still, you get up here and say that I did that, and we're disingenuous, and I did that because you contacted the South Bend Tribune. I don't care if you called the Chicago Tribune or the New York Times. That's not why I did it. I did it because you and you alone asked for it, and I took a poll of all 9 members. Okay? That's it. That's it.
So I can't respond to that?
I
or?
didn't say you couldn't. I'm
Okay.
just saying I'm very upset at you called me today, and I reacted the best way I knew possible, and you get up here and say that I did that because you called the South Bend Tribune.
We were both on the phone call. I'm not being disingenuous on my part.
All right, ma'am.
You
Thank
said
you.
no
Thank
when
you.
I asked you if there would be public comment.
I said we weren't going to do it.
You said no.
I said no. No, I didn't. I said no, we weren't planning on doing it.
Right.
Okay, but
No.
then,
Okay,
then
that's
we had
enough.
a
It's
hold
no.
on. Then we had a nice conversation, and I did what I did. And you say I did because you called the Tribune. Had nothing to do with it. Next person.
Chief Redmagon.
Hi, my name is Ellen Rylander. I live in South Bend. I looked for a copy of this bill on your website, and I couldn't find it. This is all I could find, which is, gives the agenda item. It says Bill number 14021 resolution, but it doesn't actually give the bill language. And there's nothing that was attached. Usually, I've been to some of these meetings before, and usually you actually have the bill language there for people to consider. I couldn't find it. Now, most people get their information from the county council website. I certainly do. I couldn't, and I've done it before. Again, I couldn't find it. That means that I can't, even though I have the chance, thankfully, to comment on this as a member of the public, I can't comment on the bill because I don't know what's in it. I have questions. What are you going to do to retain Ice Miller 4? What exactly is the scope of this assisting with litigation related to the redistricting process that you're planning on? How long are they going to be retained for? How much money are you anticipating that this is going to cost the county? What's the hourly rate of Ice Miller? Ice Miller is a a very large, multi-state law firm, high billing rates. I'm sure they're going to get a nice chunk of change from you guys, which is our taxpayer dollars. I feel that the public needs to have input on especially the costs and the plan for this litigation that the county council is going to put forward. And I'd like you to stay this motion until the public can read the bill and comment on it. Thank you.
This is the bill. Well, this is the bill. It was on the back of the resolution. This is the bill. You could read it right now.
It wasn't on the website. It was nowhere on the website. I mean, that's how most people actually get to see it. I'd love to see a copy, but nobody in the public gets to see it if it's not in your website.
My turn.
Go ahead.
All right, good evening. My name is Zach Potts. I'm the St. Joseph County Republican Chairman, so I'm the least nonpartisan person in the room here. So it's a joke. We're allowed to laugh. I just want to draw some comparisons between the commissioners and the council. The commissioners held 3 meetings during normal hours and allowed public input twice when not required. And that they did not take a vote to do that. They just allowed it. The council, we had this last-minute meeting, not during normal time, no public input. They had to have a vote to allow us to speak. And the Democrat chair voted against having public input, which means that that process and transparency they were all attacking us on during the commissioner meetings, that just goes right out the window. So when the commissioners are doing something, they have to do everything how the Democrats want. But when the council does something, they play by a completely different rule book. And to put this in words, and I'll use someone that has quoted this at a former meeting there on the west side when they had that meeting on Monday before the vote for the commissioners. Auditor Mike Hammond says, "They're pissing on us without the courtesy of calling it rain." And that is exactly what this council is doing. Unfortunately, it's not raining outside. No one has an umbrella. So please stop this. Table this. This meeting is not legitimate. What you're doing is illegitimate. You're trying to cram this down. This room is almost empty. When the commissioners had their meetings, it was full because everyone knew that the meetings were going on. Everyone knew when they were and what was being discussed. No one knows that this meeting's going on. No one knows what's being discussed. But I guess this is kind of like transparency. Thank you.
Good evening. Stephen Whitmer, 5600 block of Eastview Drive in Osceola. Council. The citizens of St. Joe County considered fair and equal representation and elected 3 county commissioners in order to draw equal and fair commissioner districts. Therefore, the county council must create fair and representative county council districts. Just as our electoral college is based upon representing real estate and not population centers, the St. Joe County Council must provide reasonable and representative county council districts. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Dorsey Gordon. I moved to Granger 3.5 years ago from the Chicago area. I was hoping for a better and more upstanding government, and I just find that what you guys are doing is ridiculous and irresponsible, and it's my money that you want to use to make this lawsuit. It's my money. So thank you.
Anyone else? Here in person or online? Anyone else?
My name is Fred Reinhardt. I live in 1122 South 23rd Street in South Bend, and I say sue 'em good.
Anyone else, either here or online, that would like to speak during this public comment? Thank you. Thank you. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, I didn't hear it. I'm sorry. Okay. Ms. Clays?
Yes, thank you for this opportunity. I fully support the council's decision to do this. There are several reasons that I don't know all of the ins and outs, but I fully support it. People are saying, I don't even want to get into that. I fully support it. Thank you. It's worth the money to get it right. Thank you.
Anyone else? Hearing none. Clerk, will you please read the bill?
Bill number 14021, resolution of the St. Joseph County Council approving the retainer of Ice Miller as legal counsel, assisting with litigation related to the redistricting process.
Any comments from any council member on this bill?
I had a question for counsel. Mr. Tews.
Okay. Mr. Tews, I believe there's a question for you, sir.
Hello, can you see and hear me?
Yes.
I apologize that I am not with you this evening. Unfortunately, I had a pre-existing vacation with my family last year. We didn't get to do Thanksgiving together, so we're doing it together this year, and I've already left the state for Thanksgiving, so I apologize profusely that I'm not in attendance personally, but thankfully I can attend virtually. Go ahead with your question.
Thank you for joining us, and I've heard many good things about you. I had a couple quick questions. In your mind, according to this resolution, who is the client?
The St. Joe County Council is the client.
Thank you. And as a member of the St. Joseph County Council, do I have a right to be at any of the meetings you have with us?
When we, as I understand, as we move forward, in fact, we could have done this in executive session, when we were in executive session, making final decisions on litigation. Yes, you will have a right to be in that. As you can imagine, in a case like this, when there's many members of a council, and you are dealing with attorney-client privilege and litigation strategy, it's a sticky wicket and a difficult balancing act, but we will attempt to do as much as we can to make sure that everybody on the council has as much information as they can gather and get before any decisions are made.
Thank you. That seems very fair. Also, as a minority member on the council, do I or any other minority members have a right to receive a copy of the emails that you send to other members on the council?
Can you repeat that question again?
As a minority member on the council,
yes,
do I or any other minority members have a right to be copied or to receive the emails that you send to other members on the council, since, as you say, we are all your client?
The council is the client, as in any matter like this. My estimation here is that there will be someone that will be assigned sort of the head of litigation for the council. I will communicate with them. We will determine at some point what it is that gets shared with the entire council.
Thank you. And then last from me, what do you see as the timelines for this litigation, and what are we bumping up against as far as the coming election?
Well, I think by the very fact we're having a special meeting tonight there's a recognition that time is of the essence. Obviously, 2022 is a little more than a month away, and there are significant deadlines in state statute. I can't give you any real indication as to how long this may take. The courts are a separate branch of government, and they run at their own pace. And sometimes they run at the pace that that legislators need them to run at, and sometimes they don't. So I'm not able to give you a clear answer on that, unfortunately.
I'd like to make a brief comment if I could.
Yes, I'm done. Thank you.
Mr. File?
When a party has political power and puts together a redistricting plan, it is about as surprising as this morning's sunrise that the other party objects to the plan. So this isn't a personal matter with us. We have a lot of friends here. This is just something that always happens. The party in power puts together a redistricting plan, and the party not in power objects to it. Let's not see it as an unusual thing.
Any other comments from any council member? Hearing none, clerk, will you please take the roll?
Mr. Nolan?
Yes.
Mr. File?
No,
Ms. Hess?
Yes.
Mr. Taloyan?
No.
Mr. Catanzarite?
Yes.
Mr. Kanareki?
Yes.
Mr. Root?
No.
Mr. Krasinski?
Yes.
Mr. Morton?
Yes.
Motion carries 6-3.
Thank you. Let the record show that bill number 140-21 was passed by a vote of 6-3. May I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
All in favor? Opposed? Meeting's adjourned. Okay, we will go into our committee meeting. First bill is Transfer Appropriation Bill number 130-21. Under that, Budget Administration, Ms. Hess.
President Morton, first on the agenda is a transfer of $116,000 request from the auditor's office.
Okay.
Mr. Hammond, Mr. Murphy?
This is John Murphy, Chief Deputy Auditor with offices on